How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Carnivore Hunter. My name is Wes, and in today's video, I'm going to give you my 30-day update on the carnivore diet, how my experience has been. If you're watching this video, I'm guessing you're probably getting ready to start. You're thinking about starting. Maybe you're trying to decide what diet you want to do for 2026, or maybe you're already a veteran and just want to see how things are going for me. Either way, I'm glad you're here. I appreciate it. I've experienced negatives and positives. We're going to talk about all of those today. So I'm not really a fan of negativity, so we're going to go ahead and knock that out first. If you stick around to the end of the video, I do have before and after photos of when I started this 30 some days ago to where I am as of the 30-day mark. So I'm excited to show those to you. But first, let's talk about some of the not so fun things. So I'm going to kind of go chronologically. The first thing that happened to me was, we'll call it bowel issues. I mean, honestly, no, we'll call it diarrhea because that's what it was. Seems like it happens to a lot of people. I would just kind of expect it. It's basically a side effect of switching from carbs to fats, you know, to really simplify it as much as possible. That's what causes it. It's probably going to happen. Don't freak out when it does. Once you're a little bit into it, if you're still having that issue, you kind of regulate that with your fat intake. Or you can anyway. There's also some supplements or you know, minerals, different things that you can do. But just for, you know, the sake of keeping this video simple, in the beginning, you're probably going to have some issues with diarrhea. It seems like that's like a really common thing that majority of people are going to experience. So next for a lot of people is actually like fatigue and like symptoms of what they call the keto flu. Fever, aching. I actually never got any of that, thankfully. I never felt a dip in energy. I went to the gym this past year, basically 5 days a week for the entire year. Took the last couple of months of the year off, but I had gone for, you know, over a year, basically pretty consistently. But I'd taken a couple of months off. When I started this, I immediately started back at the gym. And so while I wasn't, you know, in great gym shape, I also wasn't in terrible shape. I didn't notice any change. Like, I was able to lift as much as I could before. Running, my heart rate, everything seemed normal. I felt good. I felt energized. And I think that that's one of those things that it just affects different people different ways. So hopefully you don't get those keto flu symptoms, but just be aware that it is something that can happen. So I was on basically cruise control, doing well all the way up until about the 3-week mark. I did end up getting a kidney stone, or I already had the kidney stone. I ended up passing a kidney stone. That was 30-hour process of some pretty bad pain. Based on the comments in my video where I talked about that, everyone is more or less in agreement that that was me dumping oxalates, and that's a fairly common thing, that, you know, the body doesn't want it in there anymore, so it gets rid of it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a carnivore expert. I'm only telling you what I've been told by people who probably know a little bit more than me. That's what it seems like was happening. So that is something that can happen to you. You know, if you have some stones in your kidneys, your body might want to get those out. Now, oxalate dumping can also come in the form of other things like rashes and weird bumps and pains in odd places. It's a weird thing. It seems like pretty much that it's a real thing, like based on the limited research that I've done. It does seem real. I don't completely understand it. If you want to understand it better, I'm not the person to teach you about it. But there's plenty of people in the comment section on my last video where I talked about that, you know, we're putting out plenty of, you know, experts that could, you know, inform you and teach you. And if you want to learn more about that, I would suggest you doing that. So after my kidney issues, I thought I have to be basically home free at this point, right? So I had a couple days of soreness after passing the stone. Well, after maybe 3-4 days, I started to get another pain. It felt like in the same spot, not nearly as bad. But this ended up being gallbladder issues. And this also seems pretty normal and pretty common. So something to keep lookout for if you are starting this. you really have to get good at pinpointing where the pain is coming from, because as I like sat down, it felt like that pain was kind of coming from my back and sides, and I thought it was kidneys again. But ultimately, after a lot of, tests that I found online to kind of pinpoint it, I did determine it was coming from my gallbladder, and it made sense after the fact, because basically whenever you're switching over to burning fats and stuff, you're putting your gallbladder under a lot more strain and stress than it's used to. Eventually your gallbladder does catch up to where it needs to be and starts performing just the way it should, but in the beginning there can be some issues with like bile production. And again, I'm not a scientist, I don't know how to explain this to you in any better way, but to keep it simple, you can have gallbladder issues, and some things that will cause those issues to feel more severe than others are fatty foods, which we're going to be eating a lot of fatty foods, right? The other thing is coffee. And so the one night that I had the worst pains and I was thinking that I was maybe having another issue of some kind was after I'd had some coffee in the afternoon, which I never do. And right after I had that coffee, I also had a super fatty meal. And after that, I was in some pretty severe pain. And luckily, it all went away, relatively quickly, but just something to, be on the lookout for. But let's move on to the positives. And the first thing that I noticed right away, like basically day one, was zero bloating. Any bloat that I had kind of went away, and I've not experienced it one time in this whole 30 days. The other thing that was really, really fast and was probably by like literally night 2 was better sleep. So I've had like not so great sleep for quite a while. And some of it's due to allergies, which I'm hoping maybe Carnivore can help. But I just plain, wake up 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night. Since starting Carnivore, I find that I'm sleeping like way better through the night. I'm either waking up before my alarm goes off, or at the very least when my alarm goes off, I'm not like, oh my God, I have to get up. Like I get out of bed like a normal person and start my day, and it feels super good, super productive, and really helps like your mental state for the day. And again, another positive is I haven't had any dips in energy. I've felt completely good this whole time. I've honestly felt probably the best I've felt ever, which is really awesome. It makes you feel so good to know that you're doing something good for your body, and you feel good doing it. You're happy doing it. You enjoy things more than you did before. That's a really good feeling. I think if you're going to start the carnivore diet, you need to have other goals in mind besides just losing weight or looking better. You need other things to, help you push through and stay motivated through some of the tougher times. But let's be honest, most people, that is going to be their number one, is to lose weight or to look better or whatever it may be. And I can happily tell you all, I have lost weight. I have gotten smaller, and I'm super pumped about it. So let's go over the on-scale victories. So if you remember, I started 30 days ago. I was 225 pounds, and I'm 5'9", by the way. 225, 46-inch stomach, 44-inch chest. And after the 30-day mark, I weighed in at 202. So I've lost 23 pounds. My stomach has shrunk by 4 inches down to 42 inches, and my chest has shrunk 2 inches down to 42 inches. So lost 4 inches around my stomach, lost 23 pounds in 30 days. That's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm super pumped about that. Right after the kidney issue, I actually gained like 3 pounds back, and I've got to get better about not like getting on the scale every day. Like, it's so hard to not, do that. But realistically, you're going to fluctuate. I don't know what the cause was. Through this whole thing, I've cheated twice. So, like the Lindor truffle ball things, those little like chocolate balls with the chocolate truffle inside. I've had 2 of those, 2 separate occasions. And, by the numbers, it's not enough to knock you out of ketosis or anything. But that was the 2 kind of cheats that I had over the course of 30 days. And to be honest, I don't think that really played a role in it. But the flip side of that is like, you see that and you're like, oh, I want it so bad. But then like, while it's in your mouth, super awesome. The moment that it's gone, you feel bad, and you're like, well, that wasn't worth it. So keep it in mind. It's going to happen, you know, or it probably will happen. You're probably going to, you know, cheat, backslide, fall back, you know, have a hiccup, a roadblock, whatever you want to call it. Don't get in your head. Don't just say, screw it, I've already had one, I'm going to have 6 more. Move on with your life. Stay motivated. Stay positive. It's going to be fine. I almost lost motivation at, like I said, around 3.5 weeks because I was thinking I was going to hit into the 100s by 30 days. And I went from like 203 to like 207 in the course of like a day. Don't know what happened, but in any case, you know what? It's fine. I stayed positive, finished the 30 days at 202, and I'm super happy, super excited to go another 30 days and see what happens. And right before I show you some before and after photos, I do want to say that a lot of people in the comment, not a lot, there's a few people in the comment section, you know, that are starting to kind of come in and talk bad about animal-based anything really. And it's kind of clear that they're, you know, vegan or you know, definitely plant positive people, and you know, saying that, you know, meat is causing the whatever issue I'm having. I just want to say the amount of meat that I'm consuming is probably not a lot different than it was before I started this. The biggest difference is I've now removed a bunch of trash and garbage. So that's the biggest difference for me. And also I have cut out alcohol, and I'm sure that's playing a huge role in my results. But I've not increased protein by a lot. I've just removed a lot of trash. So if that's the kind of life you're living, if you eat a lot of garbage, take it out. You're probably going to see some pretty good results. All right, so now I'm going to pop in some before and after photos here, just real quick. I actually don't think the before and after photos are that impressive. Just, you know, objectively looking at myself, I think that I can see a difference in my face, maybe a little bit in the stomach, but face, I can see noticeable difference. But in any case, you know, here they are. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'm going to take this thing further. I'm happy with what I'm seeing. 30 days is not enough for me. Let's keep it going. Let's go for 60 next. Hope you stay along for the ride. Appreciate y'all watching. Until next time, y'all have a good one.